Hey there everybody, it's Daikaiji Tony here with another Spider-Man themed video. Now, we all know that everyone has the right to an opinion. This is a free country after all. And we also have the right to criticize one another. So, let's take a look at some hot takes regarding Spider-Man comics. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Spider-Man and Batman fans can act so goddamn spoiled. Wish I had 2,000 issues of Aquaman to get mad at. Wish I could nitpick every single movement or alternate costume in a Captain Marvel game, because at least it's something. No, you don't want that to happen to your favorite characters. It's a monkey's paw, since while having a lot of content for one character can inherently be a good thing, on the flip side, it can also make that character known for not being good in comics, overshadowing any spin-offs or miniseries. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting your favorite characters to have as much mainstream appeal as Spider-Man and Batman, but all of a sudden, fans of those characters are spoiled for being able to dislike what's being made? Loser behavior, sitting at a table of so much food and to absolutely focus on nothing more than how unhappy you are. Is quality over quantity a thing anymore? Like, I'd rather have one kick-ass standalone movie than a cinematic universe of movies that blend together. And did we not learn anything from New 52? Zebwell's Spider-Man isn't to your liking? Go read Stan's, or J. Michael Straczynski's, or Slott's, or Michelin's, or literally anyone. If you read them all, read them again, or watch a show, or a movie, play a video game, or, I don't know, go read a different book. They'll come around. Again. Look, even when reading a backlog of older and more well-written Spider-Man comics, like, say, Kraven's Last Hunt, the moment you close the book, and after appreciating it for what it was and the time it came out in, your mind will be reminded of the sad state of Spider-Man comics today.
Leave me alone! Akira!
Like, yeah, obviously anyone can read an older Spider-Man comic, just like how anyone can replay Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Black Ops, but that doesn't do anything in the grand scale to companies pumping out crap that people who are too gullible are willing to eat. Which is sad, since a lot of people, including myself, used to buy Amazing Spider-Man comics back during the Nick Spencer run, thinking things would get better. Now, a common rebuttal that's used is that there's Miles Morales' Spider-Man as an alternative. To an extent, I believe that Miles Morales' current run is a good alternative for those who want great Spider-Man comics, but if we're gonna accept that Miles Morales is Spider-Man as much as Peter Parker's Spider-Man, then we should understand that they're also two different characters, with different appeals and a different supporting cast of characters. Is it really that much of a sin to want mainline Spider-Man Peter Parker to be better? Now, here's a tweet from this person responding to who I assume is a disgruntled comic reader. None of you would have survived Avengers 200.
You serious?
Logical fallacies. Aside from that specific issue being the subject of ridicule in retrospective, that story doesn't negatively affect the way most people see Captain Marvel comics today, and hardly any of the repercussions lasted more than a decade, since the creatives definitely regret that story. Contrast to how Spider-Man's creatives have been sticking to their guns on how the character should be handled since One More Day and Brand New Day, to the point where hardly any other writers want to touch the character. The difference is, my entire enjoyment of this medium isn't all tied up over whether or not my one single IP baby is written exactly the way I want every single time. Again, with the logical fallacies, this person is assuming that people who are Spider-Man readers, and are also critical of the title, only like Spider-Man. I mean, I like Spider-Man a bit more than the person next to me, but I wouldn't call myself obsessed. It's just a means of turning the argument into a red herring. And even Dan Slott, who is all about bad faith arguments against any form of criticism, is applauding this. The point I think a lot of people are missing about this one, because I should have voiced it more clearly, is no, You're not getting 2,000 issues of junk, you're getting a mix of good, bad, and great. But you're hyperfixating on what's bad so much that it's like nothing else matters. So if we ignore the problem, it'll go away eventually. How long ago was One More Day again? How the hell is this take more cynical than mine? Comic nerds' refusal to stop reading stuff they don't like is insane to me, but there's nowhere else to go for this specific character right now. Sure there is. It's called a library. Read the backlogs or try something new instead of torturing yourself. If you're in love with the art form and not the corporate IP, it doesn't matter much when your favorite character at Marvel or DC is in a run you don't like. You just gotta go read other great comics elsewhere. There's so many other great comics, you just gotta be a comics fan. Am I the only one who's noticing that these takes are generalizing people who don't like modern Spider-Man comics as people who only read Spider-Man? I can assure you that most people who read comics read more than just Spider-Man, even if he's their favorite superhero. A lot of these takes seem more like a means to downplay any criticism or negative feedback and generalize it with simple outrage and harassing creators. Hey, have you checked out what's going on with Amazing Spider-Man right now? Yeah, I still don't like the Mary Jane and Paul subplot that's still being dragged out after all these months, and it's being shoehorned even more for the sake of dramatic tension, with Peter absorbing Norman Osborn's sins, which is a shame since Peter Parker's Spider-Man hasn't felt as hopeful as a superhero should be in a long time. If you hate Amazing Spider-Man that much, why don't you read a different comic? Yeah, I dropped the title a long time ago, and I'm spending my money on something that isn't rage bait material. I'm still not gonna like Amazing Spider-Man or support the direction it's going. Stories about stories are sexy when Neil Gaiman or Alan Moore do it. Stories about stories are sexual harassment when Spider-Man comics do it.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Last time I checked, a Spider-Man comic hasn't handled themes like trauma and misogyny, intentional or not, as well as this. The idea of not being able to criticize or dislike something just because there are other things to enjoy out there is a retort used to shut down any debates or meaningful discussions on pieces of media. All it really does is draw people away from what they're defending and will make people want to read something better. And all of this could apply to modern Batman comics too. I'm just more mixed in those than Spider-Man comics. The attitude of something being beyond approach is really what ends up crashing a character or a franchise. It allows creators to never improve upon the product and let it grow stagnant. Takes like these and creators pointing their fingers at the consumers are some of the reasons why modern Spider-Man comics is in the sad state it is now. Just a refusal to make things better is what made me stop reading.
How does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames?
Feels great.